Welcome back to another episode on Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast. My name is Emmanuel Isaacson, and I'm an anxiety coach who helps people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally. All right, guys, on today's episode, we have a special guest, Leonore. She is going to ask a few questions about anxiety so that she can have some clarity so that you guys can also as well benefit from it to see if you're struggling with anxiety as well with the same things. And I will try to answer her questions to the best of my ability in order to help her out. So Leonore, introduce yourself and welcome to the Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Leonore, and I'm here to ask questions about what I'm going through about anxiety and I guess the personalization.
Okay. You've been dealing with depersonalization?
Yeah, I've been dealing with depersonalization.
Okay. For how long have you been struggling with depersonalization, Lenore?
Um, it started on April April of this year after I took an anxiety medication.
And what happened afterwards you took the anxiety medication? You felt like you were more anxious?
I took the medication just one time, and when I took it, I felt like kind of like weird for my head. Like I felt like I was like dying or leaving my body, or like my body was gonna shut down. My heart was beating super fast.
Okay.
After that, um
Mhm.
I would walk and like I would feel like I couldn't walk because I felt weird in my body, like dizzy, or felt like I was gonna leave my body. I just didn't feel me no more. And the next day when I woke up, I just felt gone. Like I felt confused if I was alive or dead because I just didn't feel me no more. And I felt like my anxiety did get bad after that. I would suffer more panic attacks, and I couldn't leave my house at all.
Oh, wow. Wow. So it seems like it really triggered it and it made it worse for you. And do you still take the medication or you stop completely?
No, I stopped. I only took it that one time, and after that, I said no.
You said no,
This
yeah.
this
Makes
medication didn't.
sense. Makes sense. And before you took the medication, did you ever experience DPDR? Like, what was the reason why you decided to take the medication?
Because on the last year of December, I left my abusive relationship, and I came to my mom's house and my sister's house to stay there, and they gave me a weed edible gummy, and they didn't tell me what it had. They just told me, "Here, take a a gummy so you could feel relaxed." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to." And I seen them taking it, so I took it. And after that, I guess I got a panic attack, but I didn't know it was a panic attack. I thought I was actually dying, that I was having like a stroke because like I felt so weird. Like an hour after I took the gummy, I started having like heart palpitation. My head, the side of my head got numb, and I felt like my body was shutting down, like I was dying. I got scared, and I told her sister, "Call the ambulance. I think I'm dying already." And I told her, "What you guys gave me?" She was like, "Oh, we gave you a weed gummy." I'm like, "How come you guys didn't tell me?" So after that, I started experiencing, I guess, panic attacks and anxiety because I never experienced that.
Well, I want to tell you first of all that congratulations and good job, by the way, that you left that abusive relationship, and I'm really happy for you. And I hope that in the future you do find someone that is deserving of you. And it's not right what that person did to you at all. And also with the gummies, with marijuana itself in general, with weed itself,
Yeah.
it triggers a lot of people's anxiety. Now, of course, we have anxiety from if in your situation from the abusive relationship, and it could also come from other people's different reasoning. Like with me, for example, I came from a very aggressive home, a very angry home, and for me also, I used to smoke a lot of weed, and one time it triggered my anxiety just like you, and then
Uh-huh.
boom, I started having anxiety. So it happens to so many people that they struggle with the anxiety after they take the weed. It's like triggers their anxiety. It's
Yeah.
like the cherry on top. And with your DPDR, this is something that's very scary to experience. A lot of people, I also went through it for about 6 months straight, every single day. And it's very intense and it can make you feel like you're going insane, right?
Yes, super. Like I feel like I'm confused if I'm either alive or or dead, or if I'm a walking soul or a spirit, and that I don't want to leave my kids alone. That's why I'm just right here, and that's why I feel like a ghost.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I know that feeling. I know that feeling. And I just want to let you know, by the way, you're not going insane or you're not insane or anything like that. It's just, I want to explain to you. I want to explain to you why you're feeling that way. And it, by the way, it's normal to feel that way. I know that sounds crazy to say. Like, how can you say that? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
weird. I feel like, like I'm not me. I know that feeling. But I just want to let you know that it's perfectly normal to experience, and I'll explain to you why. I'll explain to you why it is normal to experience. The back end, let's look at the back end of what's happening with you. Whenever somebody is having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, a lot of adrenaline is getting pumped into their body. A lot of cortisol is getting pumped into their body. The reason why that happens is because the body needs to protect them from danger. That's its job. Anxiety's job is to protect you from danger. Now, the only problem is that in our situation, people that have an anxiety disorder, that have anxiety 24/7, we're not really in danger. Our mind is being tricked in a way that we are in danger, but in reality, we're not. That's the truth. But our mind's just thinking that we are. And our sympathetic nervous system that's responsible for our anxiety to not make us feel DPDR or have panic attacks and anxiety attacks, it's on overdrive right now. Because, for example, with you, and let's say with me also, you took an edible that was weed, and that's your thing that pushed you over
Yeah.
the edge in a way and made your sympathetic nervous system go on overdrive. But with the DPDR, it's a very high level of anxiety because, again, you're having adrenaline pumped into your body 24/7. You're having adrenaline nonstop. It's also the cortisol, and also your blood is being rerouted in your body, your entire body, to your muscles in order to protect you. That's why you might have very tense muscles in your arms and your legs, because the body is trying to protect you from a danger. So it either needs to fight in that situation, or it needs you to flight out of that place. So it's going to reroute, and rerouting the blood also comes from the head. And whenever we have less blood in our head, we start having this kind of feeling of detachment. We start having this feeling of like, who am I? Am I really in my body? I feel like I feel like a zombie. So that's why I said to you before, this is perfectly normal to experience when you have anxiety. And it doesn't mean, Leonore, that you're going crazy, by the way. It doesn't
Because
mean
I
that. It
do
feels
feel
like
like
it.
yeah, super. I'm like, I get scared because I'm like, either I'm gonna end up going to a mental health clinic and they're gonna give me more medication, and I'm gonna end up like staying blank from my mind and not know nobody or myself, and that scares me because I do have two kids, and that really scares me.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I definitely understand that having two kids and, being a parent, like you want to be there for them. And you also want to see them grow up. You want to see
Yeah,
those moments. It's amazing to see those moments. And again, it's the anxiety. If you realize the anxiety is making you afraid of, like, oh my God, Lenore, like, what if we end up in a psych ward? Like, what if that's
yeah,
going to happen? Like, we don't want that to happen. We have kids. Like, no,
yeah,
make sure that doesn't happen, like, make sure, like, do whatever you can in order for that not to happen. But I'll tell you, Lenore, you're not going to go into a psych ward or anything like that, because, again, anxiety cannot make you feel that way. It cannot get you to that point. It can make you feel like you're about to get to that point, but it will never push you over the edge like, oh my God, now I'm insane. And also, by the way, since you realize that there's something wrong, there's something off, shows how sane you actually are, by the way. It shows how normal you actually are, because you realize,
yeah.
hey, something's off over here. Something doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I heard too that people say that I guess if you were to be crazy, you wouldn't be asking questions like,
Yes.
why do I feel this? Why I feel different? I don't feel me no more.
Yes, exactly. You would not ask those questions. You would just be fine. I know somebody in my neighborhood who is, unfortunately, he's insane. He doesn't believe that. He doesn't think that he is. He thinks he's normal. But since you understand, like, hey, something's wrong over here. Something's wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
Something doesn't feel right. But the question is, Lenore, is like, how do we overcome DPDR, right?
Yes, like I question myself a lot because I did see 5 therapists here where I live,
Oh,
and I
wow.
feel like they don't know about that. So I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, am I crazy because my therapists don't know how to help me with that, or they don't really know about DPR?
Can you like elaborate like exactly like what happened? Because I had a very similar situation, and I just want to hear your experience because 5 therapists is a lot, and it's so like it's so true that they don't understand exactly what DPD are. Like they're like,
Yes,
what?
yes,
You want to elaborate a little bit? What happened in the session?
yeah, yeah. Like I would first, I had one therapist, and I would tell her um how I felt about DPR, that after I took the anxiety medication, that I felt like it wasn't me, that I felt like when I would walk I would like leave my body, or I couldn't leave my house in 6 months, and she would be like, but what do you mean that you don't feel like you're in your body? Like, what do you mean you leave your body?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
she wouldn't like, she didn't know what to like help me with, like she didn't know how to tell me what to do or explain to me the reasons of DPR. She said I didn't really, like she even told me I don't really know what DPR is, so she would like get on her computer and Google it.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
happened with the other therapists too, like the other three therapists, that they don't
They
they
didn't know
don't
what it
know.
was.
Yeah, and I still like right now I stick to one just to like let out what I feel, I guess. So I just like talk to her just to tell her how I feel, so
Just to
I won't like keep it.
express.
Yeah, so I won't just keep it in me.
That, by the way, that's very helpful, by the way. That is, by the way, just to talk it out, just to like let it out because we have a lot inside of us. And the more we keep in, the more, there's bottles in. So it's very good that you're doing that, by the way. So
Yes,
that's a
because
good
I
thing.
feel like, sorry, I feel like I can't tell my mom because I we're like Mexican, so I feel like they think that this doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my
Yep.
sister, I tell her, and she don't like like want to talk to me about it, and she like cause like too with anxiety, I've been suffering a lot with my breathing, that I focus on my breathing, or I feel like I make myself breathe. And one time I told her sister, "Do you feel like you could feel when you breathe?" And she was like, "Please don't tell me that because I don't want to feel that." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I actually have a lot of clients that are also they're Spanish and they tell me like the older generation don't understand this. They think it's like what are you afraid about? Like why are you even struggling with this? Like it makes no sense. Like
Yes, and my mom
it's
tells me.
very
She tells
common.
me, yes, and my mom tells me because I don't like staying home alone because I get scared that something's gonna happen to my little one or my son. They're not gonna be able to call the ambulance or something. And my mom's like, "What are you scared of? If you're gonna die, you're gonna die." I'm like, "Mom, I don't want to hear that."
I wanted to, by the way, touch base on the thing before how you said about the therapists. Like you went to so many of them, not one of them actually, understood what you were going through. And it's crazy that it's so true because like I also had that experience of like me going to a therapist and like explaining what I was going and I didn't even know what DPDR was. Me myself. And I was explaining them all the symptoms of DPDR. And he literally looked at me. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And like when you have DPDR, you're like, am I insane? Like that, like after going to a
Yes.
therapist, I'm like, wait, maybe I am insane. If like this
Yeah,
person
they confuse you
who went to
more.
school, right? Like they went to school for, I'm like, you don't even know what this is. I'm insane. Like I walked out of it. I had to stop in the middle of the session. Like I need to go home. Like I freaked out. But thankfully, I found somebody that actually knew what I was going through, and he was able to help me out a lot more. And he was a social worker, not a therapist, which I think also, by the way, I think some of them are great. And like he was able to help me out because he understood me, because he went through it. So
Yes,
it's
I
a
think
big,
that
big thing.
people that go through this, I think they're the ones that know more. Like
Yeah.
they have more tips about DPR or how to like, I guess, overcome it.
Yes. 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 So the
Because
question is,
I do listen to your podcast, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I listened to the DPR one, and I'm like, he's saying like exactly what I feel.
yeah. The only way I would know that is if I went through it. If not, I would not
Yes,
understand you in a million years, by the way. Like you can explain to me with the most detailed way, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Because it's a
yes,
feeling. It's a feeling, and it's a
yeah,
very strong feeling, and it can really make us feel like we're insane. But at the end of the day, the good news is that we're not going insane and we're not going to go insane. Now, the question is, Lenore, how do we stop having DPDR. And I know you maybe have listened to in the past with my other episode, but the main thing is to calm down our anxiety. Now, a lot of us, we're dealing with the thoughts of DPDR, right? We feel
Yeah.
like we feel like a stranger in our own body. We're trying to figure it out. How do we get back to ourselves and everything? We should ignore that completely.
Yes, and then like I question myself too a lot. I'm like, who am I? But I remember my
Yes.
past. I remember my past,
Yes.
but I'm like, who am I? I'm like, am I going
Yes.
crazy? Did I forget who
It's funny that we're laughing about it, but we understand each other, but
Yes, yes, because like I said, I never heard nobody like felt the way I feel. Because my brother had anxiety, but his is just was normal anxiety. I
yeah.
never felt like he got scared of being in his body or like the way I felt. Because I called the ambulance so many times.
Wow. I hear
Yes,
you. I know how that feels. I guarantee they already knew who you were after a while.
yes,
So, Lenore, what's the way to calm down our anxiety? Like I said before, was to like try to calm down our anxiety. That's the goal. So try to
yes,
figure out what helps you to feel calmer. Not in a negative way, like meaning like watching TV or being on social media. Those kind of things are negative things. Or like, eating unhealthy things, like more of like, okay, what can I do in order for me to calm down? Like, I know you're afraid of leaving your house, so maybe there's things that you could do. Like, I don't know if you ever done meditation, or you could do some grounding techniques, some like focus exercises.
yeah. I've done grounding techniques, but I feel like they don't really help me out in meditation. I don't know why I get scared to meditate.
What I know, as some people do. What's the reason why?
I feel like I'm scared to meditate because one time I got on YouTube and I pressed on meditation and I felt like it was telling me like to feel like if you're somewhere else and I got scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, I already feel like I'm not in my body. I'm like, what if I really actually do leave?
I hear. I hear that. So again, you have to try to find out what helps you to calm down. Maybe a hot shower helps you to calm down. Again, each person's going to be different. Like for me, meditation was an amazing thing. Like I used to go to meditation classes, even like where you had an instructor, live instructor, used to walk you through the entire process. And that also helped me to calm down. So try to find out, okay, what helps me to calm down. And number two, also with the anxiety, try to understand more and more about how anxiety works. Because anxiety, it tricks you. As you know, it's playing tricks on you
Yeah.
24/7. If we understand how it works, we're able to unveil its trick, and it no longer tricks us anymore. It can no longer do it to us. Like for me, for example, that anxiety cannot trick me anymore because anxiety makes us live in our mind. We're living in our mind, if you realize that.
Yes.
We're not living in reality what's happening outside of us, because we are, and if you realize, in our mind we are very thinking negatively. We're thinking a lot of negative thoughts, but what we
Yes.
could do is more instill positive thoughts. Positivity helps you to calm down. It helps you to feel calmer. Now, again, the goal is to, okay, how can I calm myself down? What are the things that help me to feel calmer? Positive things, maybe exercise a little bit, taking a walk, like not outside. Maybe if you have a treadmill, whatever it is, try to be creative in a way to say, you know what? Okay, this thing helps me to calm down. Positive thinking helps me to calm down. Kind of things like this. The goal is to calm down the anxiety. If you're able to calm down the anxiety, you're able to shut off the DPDR.
Yeah, because I'm struggling a lot to like how to calm down my anxiety because I guess it scares me because I try to just lay down here and like when I used to be normal, I would lay down and just watch TV. And now I feel like I can't even lay down and I just want to lay down and watch TV, but I just feel like a bad rush all over my body.
Yeah, no, that's actually, by the way, it's you need somebody. That's the thing. You need somebody to help you to discover that. That's what it is. Maybe you can do it with your therapist, speak with your therapist. Say, hey, listen, I want to know, to discover some things that maybe you can work with me to see what's going to help me to calm down. That's going to help me to feel much calmer. And maybe the therapist can give you some ideas. Try to get somebody that outside of you, out of yourself, that you can give you some ideas, or Google some things to help you to see what helps you to calm down. YouTube videos. Okay, what things to help to calm down? Like I know there's an application called Calm. I know that has very calming like noises that you can just listen to and it helps you to calm down, like the sound of the beach, that helps you to calm down, like those kind of things. You got to be creative with it. But again, the goal is always to see, okay, what can I do to calm down my anxiety? Like for me, for example, what helps me to calm down my anxiety is thinking more positively. Those things really help me to calm down, like going to take walks in nature, doing the breathing exercise. That helps me. Grounding techniques. Like, I don't know. Can you explain to me what kind of grounding techniques you're doing?
Well, like I said, I couldn't go out for like 6 months, like at all. So recently, 2 weeks ago, I forced myself to go to the nearest store here walking. So I went walking with my sister and my kids, and I was like scared to like walk. Like I was like leaving my house, and I'm like, oh no! Like I was telling in my head, I want to go back, but I'm like, no. I'm like, either way, at home I feel the way I feel, and outside I feel the same. I'm like, I'm gonna force myself to walk to the store. What could happen? So I was
That's
walking
very
and I
good.
was like focusing. I was focusing on my breathing a lot. That scares me a lot. And I'm like, no.
Okay.
So I just started like looking at the trees. And I'm like, oh, look at the trees. I missed out 6 months
Nice.
not looking at the trees. I was looking at my son all happy because I feel like they haven't gone out because of me. And I seen him so happy looking at like outside. And I was just like looking at him. Like I still had like that on my head. I'm like, something's gonna happen to me. I'm gonna leave my body, my heart's gonna stop. But I just like I'm like, no, these are just thoughts. They just like
Amazing.
trying to scare me because I'm leaving the house.
Amazing. Yeah, because you see the anxiety trying to protect you. You see it's trying to, because the outside is a dangerous place, it's saying. So tell your anxiety the outside is a safe place.
Yes.
Tell your anxiety that, the outside is a safe place. That place right now where I am is safe. We don't have to go home. And I want to tell you just a little bit of the grounding technique is that the grounding technique, what you can do is look at 5 things that's around you, like use example, your tree, your sun, the birds, the sky, the sun, the clouds. Those are 5 things. 4 things that you can physically touching. So example right now, like let's say if you're sitting down or your legs are on the ground, my hand is on the armchair, like those kind of things. So 4 things that you're physically touching, and then also 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and then 1 thing that you can taste. If you do this, what it does, it basically takes you out of your thoughts, out of your mind, and more into the reality. And that way you're able to calm down. You understand? It's a
Oh,
very, very
yeah.
powerful tool. And I've done that. And the first time I did it, I was like, wow. I'm like, I feel completely different for the first time ever. And it took me months. And I was like, wow, I never knew this. It was an
Yeah.
amazing thing. So try to do that and see how that's going to help. And again, instill different kind of techniques. You can speak with your therapist of things that you can discover what helps you to calm down. So that way you're able to feel much calmer. And also tell your therapist, I want you to work with me and how to think more positively in situations. Give him some scenarios and tell your therapist, like, okay, this is my scenario. This is the way I'm thinking about it. How would you look at it in a different kind of way? How would you look at it in kind of different thing? So that way you're able to see it in a different light, because there's always 2 sides to the coin. We choose what side of the coin we actually want to see. But the only problem is that we're so used to hearing or seeing the negativity because of the life that we lived, because of the people that we're with, that they brainwashed us. And now we need to change that in order for us to feel much better. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yes.
But Lenore, we're gonna end it off over here. It was great speaking with you and everything, and I'm so happy that you decided. I know you told me you were a little shy and everything, but I'm
Yes.
glad that you actually took it, and I hope that this episode helped you out. And definitely, look out for it. I'm gonna be posting it by today, so definitely check
Okay.
that out and share with your family or with your friends or somebody in your
Yeah.
community that is also struggling with it. To help them out as well.
Yes. Thank you for having me here. Thank you. Like
It
I said,
it
I
was a
felt like
pleasure.
yes, I felt lonely, but I'm like now I don't feel lonely because
Um,
what we talked about.
I'm glad. I'm so happy to hear that. You have no idea how happy that makes me feel to see other people like not feeling alone, because I know that feels. I'm really happy to hear that. If you did like this episode, please click the like button and leave a 5-star review. The reason why I ask is because this way we're able to reach more people. And the more people that we can actually reach, the more people that we can actually help. Because my mission in this world, my purpose is to help people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally and show them that it's possible to overcome. Thank you guys. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.